Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. It is Monday, January 4, 2021. Wow, how odd is that to say? I just got done eating breakfast, an omelet with chili and avocados that Kelly made, and then a dessert of bread pudding with whiskey sauce and coffee. And now I'm going about the less important parts of the day. Um, Everybody knows what's coming up tomorrow and the next day. On the 5th, tomorrow, we have a the runoff, the Senate runoff down in Georgia. That's going to decide the balance of power in the Senate. The following day, we have the certification process, however that's going to come out, of the electoral votes in the different states. We all know what's going on with that. We all know uh, about the pushback. We all know the different claims that have been made from different sides as how that's going to come out. Well, even though we know how we hope it comes out, we don't know how it's going to come out. So preparing for the unknown is what preparedness is all about, and there are a few things that I would suggest that y'all, if you haven't already, do right now, do today. Um, because depending on what happens tomorrow and the next day, everything could change. I mean, in the blink of an eye. The entire not only will we be headed one way or another policy wise, but it will be a tripwire. It'll be a trigger for many, depending upon what happens and whether they like it or don't like it, and things could flash real fast. So if you haven't, now this should be uh, basic preparedness, but most people have a tendency to kind of slide and slack on these things, and sliding and slacking on the basics is where you get in trouble. Okay, too many people concentrate, as I've mentioned many times before, they concentrate on the sexy stuff, the super stuff, the cool stuff, and they forget about those basics. And that's when life and reality kind of seeps in through a crack and bites you. So, what you should do today, first off, top off all your tanks. Top off all the fuel tanks in every vehicle that you have. Go up and top off all of the extra fuel containers that you have. If you've got some out in the garage and they're empty, they're not doing you a bit of good out there, except maybe to bang on it if you need help and nobody's coming anyway. So fill those up. And if you don't think you have enough, go out and buy a couple more. Now, you're not going to get them on sale right now, like you could have had many times through the years when you probably should have, but get them nonetheless. Get out there, because depending on what happens, if for whatever reason, could be any number of reasons, if a refinery goes offline, you know what's going to happen to fuel prices. Okay, and even if it is not a long term situation and comes back, do you really want to go down and fill up your truck or your car tomorrow at $6 a gallon? Like happened after a couple of things that have happened in the past. No, that's taking money out of your pocket right now. So top those off. Um, Go out and top off anything else, or further stock those basics that you think, from recent experience, you might find shortages of. Depending on what happens, delivery chains could be interrupted. It could be dangerous for you to go to the store, depending on where you live. So what are those things? I know the famous toilet paper, right? What did you see disappear last time? You better go to the store and get some of those. And then I would suggest uh, tonight or tomorrow night, fix yourself a nice dinner. You don't want to constantly be, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Oh, I got my rice, I got all this stuff. The purpose of proper preparing properly preparing or proper preparation is to be able to live well. Nobody wants to live constantly in a survival mode. So get yourself up a notch and treat yourself a little bit. Um, so top off all of those supplies. What else? If it happens, you're going to want it. If it doesn't happen, like I say, use all these things as a drill. So you got plenty of batteries. You got are all your light sources working? Interruption of utilities is a definite possibility. You got plenty of filled propane tanks out there by your grill. If you do that, and empty one sitting out there that you have been meaning to go switch out isn't gonna do you any good. And if you wait until something happens, there's not going to be any left for you. So run down, get those refilled, and what the heck, get an extra one. If nothing happens, you're going to use it eventually, right? If you use portable heaters, if you use portable camp stoves, things like that, run out and get a bunch of those smaller cylinders. Stock them up. There's nothing. You ought to have them anyway. You ought to have a bunch of them anyway. Think about where you're going. Okay. Contact your friends, your neighbors, your family, more so your family and your friends. Your neighbors are going to be close by, and just let them know, whether or not they're on the same page you are. Say, there's a possibility that something could happen if we lose telephone service. Here's how, let's talk about how we get in touch, how we stay in touch with each other, and give them a little advice if they're receptive to it of what they might want to do to prepare for this. So make sure tighten up your communications. Think about where you're going to, where you work, where you're going to be going over the next week or so. What are your main avenues that you take? Do you take your kids to school? Where do you go to work? Where does your wife or husband work? Where's your store? Where do you normally go? You probably go the same way all the time. You're familiar with that way. Get familiar. Go ahead and take a drive this afternoon or tomorrow during the day before we get the results of the Georgia election. Take a drive around and find out any alternative avenues that you're not familiar with. You ought to have multiple ways to go anywhere you go, because you don't know what might happen. Is it, I'm not just talking about a big major shutdown. I'm talking about what if the traffic lights go out for whatever reason? Okay, somehow they go offline, and there's a big old wreck in the middle of an intersection. Do you really want to be backed up in traffic? For forever how long while the authorities have things locked down? No, you don't. Be able to have different ways to go and have several for everywhere you need to be. And then I would suggest, if you don't have to make a trip, well, if you want to, now if you're living in the city and you've got a nice cabin out somewhere, now would be a good time to pay a visit to it and take a few days off work. But if you don't, then I suggest you kind of limit your travel for a while. Travel is one of the most dangerous things that you do, because you're passing through areas that other people have an effect on. Anytime you give more, what am I trying to say? For a writer, sometimes I can't find the words that I want. That's probably why I sit around searching for words so much. But anytime you let other people have an influence over your world, you're giving up freedom, you're giving up safety, you're giving up security. And when you're out traveling, you're giving up influence over your world to a whole lot of people over whom you have no control. Okay, so limit your travel for just a little bit, and then keep up on the news. Now, I don't follow the news a lot. It just it's the same old junk. I follow the headlines. I get an idea of what's going on. Of course, I get a lot of information from people that send me stuff. I make sure that I have an idea of what the big picture is. The small picture, it'll just drive you nuts if you're responding to the small picture all the time, because the small picture changes all the time, and it's not always right. Well, it's often not right. A lot of times it's just the attempt by the media, the government, any groups of influence to try to influence your behavior, your mood, your emotions. They're trying to direct you in certain ways. So I don't pay attention. However, this is a good time. Do pay attention to the news. And I would suggest you keep something going all the time. Keep a radio going all the time. National news and local news. Because what happens nationally is going to have a local effect. Keep an eye on that. Understand which way the elections go. Have something turned on, tomorrow night as the election returns are coming in, and ask your friends to, and stay in touch with each other. Text each other, call each other. Hey, did you hear this? This is what's happening now. No, I didn't hear that. Did you hear this? No, I didn't hear that. So stay up on the national news. It's going to cause what happens locally, and then stay up on the local news. You want to know, if there is an outbreak somewhere in your city. You want to know if there's a shutdown on the highway somewhere. You want to know. And this isn't a matter of being a news junkie. It's a matter of being an intelligence collector. Okay. This is just basic intelligence, knowing a little bit about knowing as much as you can about what's going on in the world around you that could affect you. So those are real basic things. And I might also add, if now's a good time to take a few days off from work, do it. Sit back and watch the show if there's a show coming. Tell your boss. Maybe he's on your page, maybe he's not. But say, I feel a sniffle coming on. So just do those basic things, but do them today. So often people says, I really need to get around to tightening up my basics. Well, today's the day to do it, not tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow's the day to do it if you didn't do it today, but you might not be able to get everything done tomorrow. So, he who hesitates is lost, and why put off till tomorrow anything you can do today, and a stitch in time saves nine, and all of those proverbs and platitudes that we were raised on that are great sayings because they're true. Get it done and be ready. Okay, it's going to be some interesting days coming up, and I'm like I've said before, I'm waiting until I see what's going to happen to really start talking about some of those things. I have put some stuff over on Patreon for those of you who are interested. It has a lot to do with Northern Ireland. Probably put up more today. And they are great lessons for a people who have learned to live under oppression for a long time. And as soon as I see which way things are going here, I'll decide how much more to put up over there. But we will see, won't we? So you all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and that really is today and tomorrow. It's not the figurative sometime in the future. Get it done today so that tomorrow you're not running around like a chicken with their head cut off, right? No offense to chickens. Y'all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.